I was a young married woman at 17 and had a baby and had quit school. And I did get a GED, but the thought of ever going back to school or doing anything like that, you can forget it. I was terrified.
The same year that my son graduated from high school, so we both got our high school diplomas the same year. But I always lacked the confidence.
I had a 2-year-old, I was pregnant, and planning a wedding. And I said, well, I had every good excuse not to go, and because fear, and I lacked the confidence in going back.
My supervisor constantly got after me that I was going to have to go for this certification eventually, and I just kept putting it off and putting it off. Well, I was afraid.
Okay. And
I didn't believe that I could do it. No, she really hadn't wanted to take the first one. I don't think she knew how to get out of it. You weren't going to let her off the hook.
The biggest thing that STAR did was give us all the kick in the ass that we needed. And because that's what I'm thinking for myself. I had thoughts about returning to school. I had thoughts about furthering my education, but nobody pushed me to do that. STAR pushed me to do it. And that's why I went. For me, it was that kick in the ass. Now I have to go. And now I'm grateful, real grateful that that happened, because it's what I needed.
One thing, you made it so it was possible. Most of us have children, have families, work. The fact that I could come to work, come across the parking lot and go to class here. You gave us some time off so we could do it. That made it attainable. It made it possible. Paula, yes. Paula told me that she would help me through it. I saw that the other ones did it. And I also felt like I was being left behind. And I didn't like it. You know, they did it.
And even the young folks were feeling the same way. And then we all built that bond that, hey, we can do this, and we did. And we learned so much about everyone and so much about the agency. And we helped each other. We formed study groups. You come to the exam, so there's another barrier. Oh my God, how am I going to remember all this? And then you see that everybody else is going through it. So you serve as consultants to one another, and it's nerve-wracking. We had done a little bit of it in our class, but then we had to prepare for this. So we got together, we met, we worked on our case study, sent that in, and then when that was done, we got together and we practiced. And we would practice with each other.
Most people came that night, and we could, do questions and answers off of each other. We we all got the same hotel. People could talk about their fears. People were just really pulling for each other. People were helping you that weren't even in the class.
We had a tremendous amount of support from your supervisors to your co-workers to new friendships that you made.
The psychiatrist would walk by and hear us studying, and Dr. Bailey stopped by and help us with bipolar, figuring out, bipolar disorder 1 versus 2. And I mean, where do you get that kind of help when you're on there? I don't know. And we had so many advantages being here.
I knew Fred from one of the Jobs to Careers meetings, and we were attending it, and he had an opening for a teacher of general psychology, and he just leaned over to me and said, "Ray, you got a master's degree, don't you?" I said, "Sure, I do." He said, "Well, would you be interested in teaching?" And I never really did it before, and I was very nervous about it, and I was kind of fearful. I mean, I never really even had in my head that I would be a teacher. I never really thought about that as a possible career for me. I was hesitant at first because I was nervous. I didn't know, would I be a good teacher? Would I not be a good teacher? I was going to have 30 students looking at me. Do I know what I'm talking about? All of that kind of thing. And I decided that I was just going to, push the envelope on myself, like other people were doing. People participating in our program, there was a lot of fear in some of the things going back to school. And that's, that's pretty fearful, and it was for me. It was for me, yeah. But it's a year later, and a little over a year later actually, and I'm pleased with what I've done, and I'm still nervous, but you know, I work through it, and I actually enjoy it now. I really do.
And the piece with the licensure, you know, like I knew that I could, once I was in it, I knew like, okay, I can do this, but for me the goal was, or what was out of reach for me was the license. Like I never thought I'd get licensed. I thought I could never pass that test, and I did. And I like, you know, I encourage everybody, like I had anybody that needed to get licensed, like it was like, so we did the same thing that they did, you know, like Sue, come on, we gotta get licensed. You've been here how long? Let's get licensed. And Kelly, like, let's take the test, and Rick. And so, you know, pulling that all together so that we can all do that.
So did you actually meet together and prepare for it?
I was sending out emails. We had study groups. I mean, we did the same thing that they did. And maybe that's why I'm so emotional, because it just reminds me of, you know, what we did. And the support, you know. We all drove up together, you know, with our Lucky Charms and prayed, and Sue's O'Donnell's mother, you know, prayed for 12 hours in Portugal.
Used examples that we would talk about on a weekly basis, brought that back to work, and had clients that we kind of, you know, put together with different diagnoses that we were learning in the BCC class, so that when I went back to IOP, along with Paula, with Crystal, my supervisor, we talked, oh, this is like we were talking about yesterday, this is what we need to do, this is what we learned. Each week we would come back, we would talk amongst each other in the classroom, or the students would talk, they would talk, or there would be people in other units that would give descriptions of, you know, we had a client that like we had learned about, and things would happen, and we'd bring it to class if we didn't know what to do. You know, we'd bring it to class, and this is what we experienced last week, and the instructor along with the supervisors who went to class too, we would all talk about, you know, different times that they've had people like that in group, different ideas, how we could make the group better for the clients. The instructor that we had here, when I told her that I was thinking about going back, she met with me on a summer afternoon up at BCC, oriented me to the campus, sat down with me for a couple of hours outside, had a nice conversation with me, pumped me up even more about it. With all of that, it gave me the confidence that I can do it. I can go back.
Arthur Trundy was there. Arthur Trundy was wonderful. I have to say that. He was wonderful. I mean, he told us everything. We actually, the day before, we could go and see where it was going to be and see the classrooms. And he walked us through the whole entire thing. He told us, you know, you have to take the seat and you couldn't be talking, and only one person at a time could get up during the test. I mean, he really made it real easy to understand, so you weren't surprised by anything. And he was there afterwards then and congratulated us.
Taking this course gave me confidence to go back to school. At the beginning of May, it'll be 2 semesters that I got under my belt. 4 classes.
I was doing it, and I liked it, and I was learning things and applying them, and I was impressed with myself that I was doing all this. And I finished, and I got my CAC, and then went for my KDAC, and eventually got my KDAC. And I just kept progressing. I said, I just need to keep going. I don't want to stop. You know, I'm young enough. I don't want to stop. I want my kids to see that I have finished school. And so I'm in a bachelor's program right now, and I don't think that I would have done it if I didn't have that wonderful opportunity to go to school here, right on campus.
So I was talking to my mother on the phone one night, and it was that other college class that was going to come up, and I was like, you know, I just started talking about it, and I was, I'm going to do this, and she goes, oh, what is this I hear? She goes, is that confidence? And it was. It was like I wanted to take that class because I knew I could do it. It's like I'm part of the team too now. I these letters after my name. It really, really makes you feel good about yourself. My colleague who had taken the Trundee and gone for the certification, was going to go for the certification, but it came up that she didn't have a GED, which you have to have. There was a source of embarrassment for her about the whole thing because she didn't have a GED. It came to the math. It was so hard for her, and she studied every night. She had a tutor that she went to. Yes, she went to the tutor, I think, 2 or 3 times a week. Studied every day on her own for, I will bet you it was at least 2 hours. On the weekends, she did it, and she had to go a couple of times. She passed.
Paula.
Yeah.
Clinical skills, she has more skills than some of the master level clinicians I've seen, truly. I mean, she's able to call it, she's able to work with it, she's great in crisis, and education isn't everything.
No.
But for some people, it's like, if I don't have the education, then maybe I shouldn't be saying this. You don't have the confidence to speak about, well, I know this. And for her to finally have credentials, when she came in that morning, Kathy, put her name on folded piece of paper over it was her office, and it said Paula Quinn CAC, and so we had a laugh about it. But it's like everyone just helps each other, and it's just so nice. It's a blessing to be a part of.
I received the CAC, and then I went on and did the oral exam to pass the CAC. And then getting that level, I started doing more group work over in IOP, and then started seeing individual clients, which was my goal, which I absolutely love. It's $150 for 15 credits, so that really puts you on your way towards your associates. And we got 4 credits for the changing behaviors class, so that's 19 credits right there. I have a 3.9 as far as BCC is concerned.
I found that I love learning. I love it. I love those classes. I really mean, I missed them. We had so much fun. And I just never realized how much that I love to learn. I mean, I was scared. Oh my gosh. The information, the different things that we got there, I mean, you just can't pay for that. You can't buy it.
We have grown. I feel empowered sitting here, empowered thinking, that's right, I'm not what I used to be a year ago. I'm nothing like that. I can do this. And that's all it took.
I'm not afraid. I'm not intimidated by clients. They get out of control. I know what to do. I know how to, to handle things much, much better.
A gift was presented to me. It was a blessing. It was a gift, and it's enabled me to just move forward with my dreams, and I'm grateful for that.
Everybody was a part of helping me out. Everybody was a part of helping me out.
From whence I came to where I'm sitting now, it's like my cup runneth over. Yeah. And I appreciate everybody's help. Was able to cover a class for a colleague here who teaches a psychology class, and I was able to teach the substance abuse piece of it a couple of times, and I really enjoyed it. I loved it. It was interesting. I have a passion for addiction and people with mental illness, and I think that it needs to be out there, and people need to be educated on it, so I was honored to be able to do that. So yes, I enjoy doing that.
Every time that she's participated, I've always had some great feedback from the students. When I'm teaching general psych, a lot of the topics that are in the topics come up with these what are called critical controversies, things like nature versus nurture. And one controversy that always comes up in substance abuse is whether it's a matter of willpower or if addiction's a disease. And so Laura's really good at generating conversation on this debate. And I hear back from the students all the time, and as a matter of fact, I find that really helpful to me as a teacher too, because it gives me things to continue to play off of that Laura has presented in her lectures. One student came up to me and said that she had a family member who was suffering from addictions, and now we have this Arise Family Interventions, and Laura is an Arise interventionist, and she gave the student, you know, the number of steps on what needed to happen to help her. I think it was her brother that did it. So she wanted me, the student wanted me to just express my thanks to Laura for, you know, helping her and her family, because she was sort of feeling out there, like, what do I do? You know, one of the benefits of teaching at BCC and being an employee of STAR is that I think it offers the students an opportunity to hear directly from the field as opposed to from a textbook.
The piece that sticks out for me is the just learning about mental illness and how I think that people have a good understanding of substance abuse and what we can do, and whether it be, you know, the whole historic thoughts of, you know, what we do present day, but just applying the mental illness piece, like understanding that, you know, a behavior, maybe not necessarily a behavior, but some symptomology that's going on with something else, and understanding the rationale of why we do what we do. You know, it's not black and white. There are some shades of gray. This could be going on because of this, and just critical thinking that came from what they did in there. You know, and like I can remember Kathy, you know, us discussing a case, and it was like, well, remember this, and just applying it to real life situations, and just kind of seeing like the light bulb go off, like, aha, I get it.
The quality of care that we can give to the people that come to us
Right.
is so much more.
They'd sit there and not even feel that what they would say was important or mattered or relevant. I mean, they'd be so afraid to speak up, to say it. They would think it, I think, but just wouldn't put it out there because people might laugh at them or people might think it's not the right thing to say. And now they have the confidence to put it out there. And if it's not the right thing, then we discuss it. And I think they're okay now to bring it out. Confident, they stand out there like, I know what I'm doing now. Which they might have all along, but now their confidence is built to
Confidence and compassion.
That's a beautiful thing.
Right.
Yeah.